Hey, what's up, everybody? It's KillJ's. How's it going? And I am a Grumpy Raider fan. Welcome to another Sensei 7 stream. So, who are the Sensei 7? Well, the Sensei 7 are a group of like-minded fans, such as myself, and we just decided to go and all link up and talk about our favorite team, the Raiders. Well, we were having so much fun shooting the shit about the Raiders that we decided, why not? Let's put this on YouTube. So here we are. So the Sensei 7 are not like any other group. We're not gonna be taking a lighter journey to the dark side. Instead, what we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be calling a spade, a diamond, a club, a heart, a heart. We say it how it is. We're not gonna pull punches, and you know what? We're also gonna be respecting each other. You know, we are strictly dark side, and that is it. We are going to respect each other on everything that we do and say, even if we have a difference in opinion. Unlike some people that are on the internet and whatnot, we actually are going to respect your opinions for what they are. So there's that. So I'm sure my other brothers will be coming in here soon and everything, but that is pretty much who the Raiders, the Sensei 7 are. Well, we had a game yesterday, guys, so why don't we go ahead and get to that? Because you know what? We are just gonna... get myself here so you guys can see me. Bam. Somewhat. You can see me somewhat. That's okay. Monday Night Football. We have the Detroit Lions. We all went to the Motor City itself to do this. So, obviously, this was a game that I expected us to lose. The Lions are red hot after many years of just being the punching bag and the running joke of the NFL. They finally got something together, and now they are dominant. They are leading the NFC North, and also are angling with the rest of the conference to be the number one team. So yeah, it's there is no joke. And well, Al, let's go ahead and get to it though. The final score being 14-26. Raiders losing. We are now 3-5 of the season. But that's the thing though. It's not because they lost that makes me grumpy, irritated, mad, and everything. It's how they lost. The Raiders had every ample opportunity to capitalize and possibly beat this team. But we didn't. And that's the most frustrating thing about this entire game. 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers that were not capitalized. And that's saying something. We have Devontae Adams, our star wide receiver, getting so upset, so irritated. He is throwing his helmet around and just cursing up a storm. I already said last week that I want off this ride. Pretty sure there's a whole lot of people that are in the same boat as me right now. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And that's the thing. The defense is what gave us a chance. And that is something I'm very happy and proud for, is that the defense kept us in this game. The defense even scored for us. Marcus Peters, not being somewhat of a ghost most of the time, this suddenly decided to show up and put the time back a little bit to when he was young and healthy and all that kind of stuff, and actually gave us a pick six. But even then, the Raiders couldn't even get close to even field goal range for at least Daniel Carlson to kick a field goal. That's what's horrible about this team. It's the offense. The offense and the play calling by said coach, Josh McDaniels. I do not know why it is taking Mark Davis so long to realize trusting this system is not going to work. Especially with how that we lost. I don't know if he wants to go and just run it all the way to the end of the season. Okay, fine. But you can't continue with this. We don't deserve this as a fan base. We just don't. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it and everything. Hopefully, some more of the Sensei 7 members will show up. So let's go ahead and go over team stats here. We adjust. Bam! There we go. Now I guess we're in the middle of the screen. Oh man, what can you do? So the stats show completely. The defense is what kept us in this game. Like, look at the stats here. Look from one side to the other side. 499 yards compared to 206 for the Raiders. 277 passing yards for the Lions. 126 for the Raiders. 222 rushing yards for the Lions compared to 80. 6 yards per play compared to 3.5. And what kept us in this game was our defense with those 3 turnovers. One of them being the pick 6 by Marcus Peters. I mean, dear God, man. Stats like this for the Lions, there should be a bigger score. It should be a bigger lead. We should have gotten stomped by these guys. But our defense kept us in that game. Unbelievable, guys. Time possession, 39 minutes, 33 seconds compared to 20 minutes and 27 seconds. That's an entire quarter. They had the ball for an entire quarter more than us. And still, the score is like that. thanks to our defense. And you could tell the defense was dog tired. Except for Mad Max Crosby. Max Crosby is just a specimen of greatness. And we are wasting this guy's talent. It's going to be another Charles Woodson moment where we cannot do anything with this kind of talent, to where he's going to retire ringless unless he goes to another team. And I do not want him to go to another team. And finally, of course, 5 penalties compared to 4. So we beat them in the turnover category. And we beat them in penalties. That's pretty much it, guys. There comes a point in time when enough is enough. When is that, Mark Davis? You are the owner of the Raiders. We, as a fan base, expect you to do something Are you that much afraid to admit that you're wrong? Are you admit that you're afraid that you're wrong, that you chose the wrong coach? That you chose to go with a coach who failed as a head coach. And then, instead of taking the coach that had such a rapport with the players, who they would freaking run through steel walls, who would kill themselves for that coach, you don't go with him. You let him go to another team. And you choose the coach that failed. Horribly failed. Who was a laughingstock for the entire NFL on how horrible he was. You had former players of our own rival team that warned us, do not take this coach. Do not hire this coach. He is not good for you. You chose him anyway. And through that head coach now, who basically made it a point that he has changed for the better, that he's going to do better, he is going to focus on people, he is going to build a great relationship. What do you get? We got beat by a high school head coach who came off of broadcasting. We got beat by a journeyman quarterback who showed up the day before the game and just string things together out of his butt. We lose to a quarterback who was undrafted and played Division II football. And not only are you getting outscored by your kicker on multiple games, you are also getting outscored by the defense. What does that say? And you still want to keep this guy? You still want to roll with him? Please tell me. Please tell me. Please tell me that you are at least not going to keep him by the end of this season. Please tell me, Mark Davis, that you are at least going to get rid of him at the end of the season, so hopefully you can scrap another just another coaching staff together. If you want to do that, okay. If you don't want to do that, why are we keeping him? Like, are we waiting for Gruden to win this court case so he can try to come back? That makes no sense for you to do that. It doesn't. It makes no sense to even keep this guy when all he's going to do is lose and lose in an embarrassing fashion. It just does not make any sense whatsoever. What we would not give to just sit down with Mark Davis, look him in the eye and say, what the hell are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a dog with us, the dog of all dogs. Aaron the Q Dog Raider, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Do you have a visual?
I have a visual. The people see you.
All right. So, happy Halloween. Just got through doing all of my obligatory festivities, and I'm ready to get in here and talk a little bit of Raiders. I listened to a little bit of your commentary, and I think you're spot on. I mean, how much longer can we endure just the pure ineptitude, disguised as uh, wait and see genius? Um, there is no big reveal. What you're witnessing is who we have to deal with. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better on schedule. And regardless of whether our managing partner has extended, whether in confidence or just flat out assured um, McDaniels that he's going to have an additional year, this cannot.
You're muted. You're muted. Uh-oh. Now the camera's gone. Now I can't see or hear you. All
Sorry
right.
about that.
I can hear you, I can see. All right, we're back.
Q Dog, she's got remarkable timing. If there is a terrible time to make a phone call, she's going to hit that dial. But
Mm-hmm.
back to regular programming. And once again, my appearance is brought to you by the men and women of Don Sergio, who make
Ah,
a wonderful reposado. And I'll be drinking on that to ease the pain. Now, Tyrone Raider, he was really, putting out a whole bunch of machine gun posts on the chat, and he
mm.
was speaking a lot of truth. Um, our good friend Ramon Raider, he's in a bad place with the team. He's like Raiders every day, all day, just not today. And I think that was telling. I got a quote that I'm trying to bring back to memory that Tyrone had said, but the gist of it was pretty much he's numb to the losing and he hopes as soon as the clock hits zero on our last game, our 17th game of the season, that McDaniels has shown the door. Are those truths that were actually espoused, or is that just being in the moment? What do you think there, Kill James?
I am hoping that that's the case
All
because
right.
because we've all as I said before, I think all of us in the Sin City 7, when we first when Gruden was shown the door, and at the end of the season, we lost the Bengals. Everyone knew who our head coach was supposed to be.
Come on.
I'm looking at this guy who speaks soft, who is freaking for the players, who resembles a lot like a certain WWE superstar that we all love and adore, who also used to frequent WCW as well. And he was also shown the door, much to our perplexion, in which we thought to ourselves, why not this guy who resembles Bill Goldberg? And suddenly, we're saying that Josh McDaniels is being coached, in which we all thought to ourselves,
Yeah,
why?
Yeah, you just had
The
immediate
other,
return.
the other Harbor, the other Harbor would have been a better option than him.
Yeah, but we got cheap. We could have had him, and we got cheap. So yeah, I'm willing to play. This woulda, coulda, shoulda. This man.
Yes.
There were a lot of people. Basaccia should have been given at least a 2-year contract. You rip the interim tag off of him. Whatever his current contract is, go ahead and inflate to market value. And for meritorious performance, you got a team that no one would have given, a real shot at making the playoffs, to the playoffs, in spectacular fashion, in sudden death fashion, in walk-off fashion. Hey, you struck while the iron was hot. You would be the perfect bridge coach, because at some point he would have to have onboarded some X and O guys to round out his coaching staff and his coordinators. And I think he could have done that based upon the respect league wide that it seems to be a chorus of individuals, and there are very few, if any, detractors. This guy is ultra respected. You don't think he would have been able to formulate a coaching staff that would have built upon the emotional turnaround that he was able to orchestrate in his interim phase? I'm in the affirmative. I think he would have been able to do all of that and well
You have
and
a
maintain the room.
you have a coach that is a special teams specialist. That means
Sure.
that means all the major coordinators, now basically the offense and defense, they're gonna be ran through the coordinators. So you don't have any arguments between the head coach and the coordinators, which can cause friction. Number one.
That's right.
Number two, you have a coach that has some magical pixie dust, somehow took us from the brink of elimination into the playoffs, and we almost beat the Bengals,
Yeah.
in which, if I remember correctly, that
4th and goal
year,
from the 11,
that
and we checked down to the 3 for an incompletion.
and if I remember correctly,
Missed it.
if I remember correctly, those said Bengals went all the way to the Super Bowl that year. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You are not, sir.
So
You are
we
not.
so we almost eliminated the AFC champs.
Not only that, but we nearly eliminated the team that eliminated our arch nemesis in the Kansas City. Jeez.
Yes. Number three, we had a coach that was so well liked, that was loved by the players,
And could
who
make halftime adjustments.
who could, and because he is loved by the players, adored by the players, the fact that he stayed up all night that night to handwrite letters thanking these players for the effort that they gave him.
Class.
Meaning you would have players that would have chopped off their limbs, that would have given their bodies away to make sure that this coach won the game. It was not in our cards that night for us to beat the Bengals. We were this close. This close. It was in the cards. I was proud of that team.
Raider football, of course.
I was proud of that team that left Cincinnati to go back home to Vegas. I was proud of that team. And you go and you throw all that away.
It was fleeting, my friend.
Sure, what's the worst that could have happened? The pixie dust runs out.
Yeah.
But at least you would have had a team that you could have built on, that believed in the coach, that loved their coach, to where they would, that even if you were a freaking wide-eyed, bushy-tailed rookie, you would have looked at with admiration to give it your all, just like the veterans did.
Mm-hmm. I think you're absolutely correct.
You dumped him for the dream.
You know, there are certain coaches that are what we call legendary for their personality, their sheer will, their ability to rally men towards a common goal to reach organizational results. You know, you look at Rod Marinelli. He is very advanced in age, but being a former Marine and a hard ass, a defensive line coach, he would always get the best out of his unit, and other position groups would latch on to his leadership style. You look at Dick LeBeau, defensive coordinator extraordinaire. Maybe not the head coach. You saw what he did in Cincinnati. But whenever he returned to Pittsburgh, those defenses were stellar because he knew how to talk to men. He knew how to reach in their chest and pull out what is in their core, the ability to rally and be there for one another to once again achieve organizational results. You know, we bring this up from time to time. You know, you got individuals that are very interested in leadership, as they may profess, but seldom do you have individuals that have actually led men in situations that were precarious, we'll call it, where there could be loss of life, where there could be a high stake. And if you're able to transcend those leadership skills, whether they be from the private sector, the military sector, into coaching and onto the field for a child's game, yet with manly discourse and singularity of focus. Now, I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff. Those individuals are invaluable. So when our managing partner just can't seem to pull the trigger on the right coaching combo, as much as he would like to be humble and admit that he doesn't know football the way that his dad does, being a businessman, though, you would hope that you would have the ability to ascertain talent and recognize real whenever it's in front of you. And we missed that opportunity whenever we had all those things that I brought you to this point to make in Coach Basaki. He's gone. But I do believe that he is acquirable again.
He
But
is.
maybe dynamics may not be in place for him to work his magic because the group is just different. It just is.
It
Just
is.
is.
And so now you got a coach whom, which I've already said before, he lost to a high school head coach, lost to a journeyman who basically showed up off the plane and said, "Hey, what plays are we running?" Lost
Yeah,
to
he's
a
not like
division.
Dobbs going up to Minnesota. He actually played the week that he was acquired. He was acquired on a Monday, and he played. Wasn't it a Thursday night game?
Yeah,
So he didn't have a full week to practice. Put together a game-winning drive, making us look like the clown car that once again we are. cue up the circus music, send in the clowns,
Mm.
and then what was it? Jeff Saturday came right out of the coaching books, and evidently he played to win the game because,
I mean,
and we give that guy his only W. I mean, amazing.
and
You
then
got by a guy that was on a telestrator the weekend before.
and then you got a guy then this also this coach they seemed to also decide to lose to an undrafted Division 2 quarterback last week, and
Not just
now
any
and
division,
yeah.
West Virginia, that bastion of collegiate football.
Oh, oh, because Texas ain't nothing, but West Virginia.
Yeah,
West
yeah,
Virginia's West
yeah. He
Virginia's
would
the
play D2
capital
in
of the
Texas.
football world,
He would play
not
D2
Texas.
In Florida. He would play D2 in California. West Virginia.
West Virginia. And now here you are on a consistent basis. You seem to need to have either Daniel Carlson score the points for you, or with this game, you need the defense to score for you.
Well, sounds
Now,
like we're having circular conversations. So let me ask your grumpy ass this. The trade deadline came and went. I think it was 11 o'clock Alaska Standard Time,
hmm,
and we did nothing. We held pat. So evidently, the brass, they think that we're just damn good enough. What we got, we're just going to go ahead and push all the chips center table. We're all in. What do you think?
at this point, I don't even if we somehow manage to acquire any kind of trade, would they even be effective? Especially on offense. Would they even be
Oh no,
effective?
we had to go defense.
For
I
defense,
needed to clarify
yes.
that. We needed to go defense. And apparently there were a couple of fire sales going on in Arizona as well as up there in Washington. The Commanders, they had two edge rushers that they were willing to pony up. And let me just go ahead and redirect real quick because
Yeah.
the Brain Trust had a three-headed monster in place for the rotation with Young Wilson, Jones, and Condor. So if we had one of that three-headed monster that we were going to roll out to dial up pressure out of the equation, why couldn't we have given up that third round draft pick and gotten either Montez Sweat or the younger and more mobile Chase Young? Why didn't we do either? Either, either.
Yeah. No, I'm in
And so
agreement with you.
future,
Defensive
Jalen Carter
wise,
Jalen Carter was available, yet we took Tyree Wilson, a defensive end in a no defensive conference. I get that he's freakishly strong, but I'm going to go back and, there was a, so I grew up in Kentucky, and there was a guy that was a defensive tackle, and his name was Robertson. And the Jets ended up taking, I forget what his first name is, out of the University of Kentucky, took him with the fourth overall pick because he was a freak at the combine. He put up bench press numbers that folks had hardly ever seen before. His shuttle time was just phenomenal. But whenever you lined it up, he gave you no pass rush. He was an adequate run stopper. And I forget what Robertson's first name is, but it's neither here nor there. But it harkens to this Tyree Wilson. Okay, who was upset that we drafted him? Who actually knocked over, uh, I guess, the setup at the table because we took their guy? No one. No one. We upset no apple carts by taking him. He was a nice pick, but nothing that anybody was going to lose any sleep over. And Jalen Carter was right there for the taking. And I keep on bringing this up every so often. We missed out on the opportunity to take Vita Vea. We could have had him. generational defensive tackle out of Washington. You know who took him after us? The Bucks. We keep on making the same mistakes, regime after regime. Now, you've heard old heads, they say that you build a offense and a defense, what? Inside out. Center, quarterback, running back, guards, tackles, then your skill players at flanker and tight end and wide receiver. That's how you build a team. That's how you made the sausage, according to guys like Hallis, you know, Noel, Madden, just household names. And if it was good enough for them, why in the hell is it not good enough for us now? Just don't get it. So the Raiders, since we don't build inside out, we simply don't draft linebackers, especially middle linebackers. We don't take defensive tackles. We may have traded for Rodney Hudson, but we don't draft centers. We shit the bed every time we try to draft a quarterback. Outside of, oh goodness, maybe JJ, and quite possibly McFadden. What have we done as far as drafting running backs? Not much. So if what's tried and true, what is canon in the NFL, you build from the middle out. The Raiders have consistently whiffed, whether it be Chucky, whether it be Del Rio, no matter if it's the GM and Reggie McKenzie, Mike Mayock, Chucky, the new guy Ziggs. How can you continually put guys that have that nose? What is the interview process? Whenever you interview these guys, okay, I'm going to give you the keys. How are you going to go about constructing this team from the ground up? Oh, yeah, man. I get that stopwatch out, man. And, we're going to get some speed. At what position? Well, I got my eye on this wide receiver. Listen, we've had great wide receivers. We've got a great wide receiver. You know what wide receivers will get you? They'll get you fired. You don't feed them every play. They don't touch the ball every play. They don't always get separation, and they don't always get the calls. And whenever they get all of the above in order, they don't always make the catch. So you're risking a whole lot of capital on such a risky proposition. Now, mind you, we've had Randy Moss, did we not?
Yeah.
How many wins did that get us?
Nothing.
We've had Mr. Football. That got us plenty of wins, but it got us no rings. We had a cup of coffee with Jerry Rice. Got us in the Super Bowl, didn't get us any ring. Insert conspiracy theories, I get that too. We had Crabtree, who made Derek Carr. Derek Carr should be given his pension, a portion of, to Crabtree. Because outside of the time that Crabtree was aligned with Derek Carr, you can talk about all the snap twig and everything I do, but the reliance that he had on Krabs to go up and get those 50-50 catches cannot be overstated. And whenever he was pushed out of the 53 framework, in combination with Happy Feet after Carr broke his leg, that's the real reason why he was never the same. His security blanket, which is usually a tight end, was gone in Michael Crabtree. And he went off into the sunset with the Ravens. Now, I may be making no sense, but I think I'm speaking a lot of truth.
No, you are.
Perhaps I don't want to steal.
And once again, and even then, if you look at all these coaches, such as Madden, such as Flores, if you're gonna hold a meeting, don't you want to be comfortable making sure that you get your side to be said? I think the real reason that McDaniels wanted to hold that team meeting. As I said, I've already mentioned this in the chat, but for those who are watching, I truly believe that Josh McDaniels held that meeting not to have people talk about their feelings, about how bad they're doing. He wanted to get the people that he could possibly toss off the team before after it's all said and done.
It's as good a theory as any.
Because that's something that he does. It's in his MO to piss players off. How many times do we need to listen to these former Broncos players snickering, going they shouldn't have hired him? And sure enough, we hired him, and this is what we get. We hired
There
him.
was a report where they went to an anonymous Raider in the locker room, and apparently whoever this ham and egger is was really caking for McDaniels, saying that he shouldn't be fired. What for? He hasn't lost the locker room. There was some other quote that was attributed to this guy, this anonymous source.
Why when it's something that positive, when it's something that positive about a coach, why would you not want to show him?
Yeah, put
Show
your
his
name on it.
face. Put your name on it. I would honestly, I would understand if you were saying something bad. And you're like, fire his ass. Then oh yeah, I could definitely see why you'd wanna hide yourself from that. But if you're not, if you're gonna say something positive, why don't you just show your face for it?
Oh yeah, own it.
And that's the thing. Even though they had this little pep talk to talk about their feelings, it did nothing. Especially the offense. Look at the stats.
Yeah, it worked for the defense.
Look at the stats right there. The Lions 499 yards compared to our 206. So on and so forth. The only two things we beat them out at: turnovers and penalties. That's it.
So the game video analysis has come back from several sources. And, a common, I guess, response to that analysis had been put out from several sources saying that it was probably the worst NFL quarterback performance on video in a long time by Jimmy G, who we just had to have come back.
In which we've already shown, according to also some other guys that pulled it up, the in our little feed here, unfortunately I can't show it, but here we go with a stat within the first 6 games, the first 6 starts of a quarterback. Guess who Jimmy G is stacking up against, ladies and gentlemen?
Jabustus Fatback.
Jamarcus Russell, who is without a doubt one of the worst quarterbacks the Raiders have ever gotten.
He was just misunderstood, brother. Misunderstood.
I misunderstand why we even drafted him in the first place. This guy is barely beating out Jamarcus Russell. 1,205 passing yards compared to 1,051.
Come on.
7 touchdowns compared to 5. But here's I'll get that later. Completion percentage is 66% compared to 55%. Quarterback
Well,
rating 78.1 to 76.6. 13,
yes.
13 sacks compared to 16. Guess what category Jamarcus Russell is beating Jimmy Garoppolo in?
Let me guess. Sacks taken.
No,
Oh, you
inter-
got me.
interceptions.
Didn't he have like only like three?
3 interceptions compared to 9.
You've done your homework.
What in the actual heck are we doing having a quarterback like that? The fact that this guy in this system, like maybe, okay, maybe, just maybe, Jimmy G is a really good quarterback, but just not good for the system.
That he was reared in. I'm, I'm tracking. Nah, bro.
Even then, you would think that this guy who is who has a lot of swag, a lot of rapport,
Yeah.
can back up what he says, good looking, ladies man, you would think that
That's
he
right.
would have the balls, just like his predecessor of Tom Brady, to go to look at a play and going, nah, we run something else.
So let's go down that rabbit hole for a bit. Tom Brady had lots of apprentices, heir apparents, backups that learned at his feet at various stages of his career and with different organizations. Name me one that has been successful other than Jimmy G in a vacuum. Any of them. Any of them.
I can't name one. None.
You had
Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy,
Jacoby Brissett had a couple of nice seasons, but Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett, that's it. That's the list. And
J-
none of them had sustainable success away from being directly under TB12.
and it's funny how Jimmy Garoppolo, being the very first heir apparent to Tom Brady, is the best one to me, in my opinion, is the best one out of them all. Now, granted, yeah, the injury, but he's made of glass.
Yeah.
But you would, but so you can have that, but still, you would think that he would at least take a page out of Tom Brady's book to see it
Yeah.
play and going, nah, we ain't doing that. Or, nah, we'll run this play, but my first read is going to go to this player.
That's asking a lot.
Instead of going, okay, my first read is going to Jacoby Myers, then it's going to Adams, then it's going to this guy, then it's going to that guy. Maybe go, nah, I think Hooper's going to have this one, and then I'll go to Devontae Adams, and then I'll go Jacoby Myers, yada yada yada. Or nah, Josh Jacobs is going to have this, and so on and so forth until finally he's like, last person for me to look at, yeah, Devontae Adams. Something.
Yeah. So
There
so
may be
Grumpy one.
times. There may be
What do we
times.
do?
There may be times when Josh McDaniels is right, and you run the play properly. There are times where that is the case, but it's not all the time.
My wife is turning off lights. Can you
Yeah.
still see me?
Oh, I can still see it, buddy.
Okay.
So here we are with our player stats here. Jimmy Garoppolo being 17 for 32, 126 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. Josh Jacobs, 15 attempts for 61 yards, one touchdown, 4.1 yard average. Surprisingly, he broke 3 yards, average this time. But look at this though. For receiving, Josh Jacobs led the way with 2 receptions for 27 yards.
I didn't
No
have to look.
touchdowns. He beat out Devontae Adams, who only got one catch.
Could have
Unbelievable.
had two
Could have had two,
with
but
his changing loss or drop. I
well, three,
hear
three if
all
if you
the
count the over the pass that Jimmy Garoppolo should have had less oomph for. He must have wanted to prove to everyone that he does have an arm.
mistakes were made. Yes, absolutely. But okay, he's being, and by he I mean Devontae Adams is being quite the squeaky wheel. But in successive games, he's come up with key drops, even whenever presented with the opportunity to make a grab. I mean, in critical junctions of the game, he's doing nothing, and I mean nothing, to support his cause. Yes, he gets open with frequency and regularity, but if you know your quarterback has a noodle arm, why are you running, 15 and beyond routes? Go ahead and separate and make yourself available 15 in. Catch
I
and
mean,
run.
I mean that would make sense for you to separate and then immediately start running to the quarterback.
They showed a play yesterday where Garoppolo, of course, was succumbing to the pass rush. So he's deep in his throw count, one Mississippi, two Mississippi. He reached three. He's scrambling, and only Jacoby Myers broke off route and returned back to present himself for the quarterback to have as an option or a check down. Devontae, he's still wiggling and squirming and working downfield. Jimmy G ain't got that kind of arm, bruh. You practice with this cat every day. So to see it live in person, up close and personal, whenever we can clearly see it on video, bruh, make yourself available in a zone that the quarterback can make the throw to. I'm not a guru, I'm not a genius. I just watch football and learn.
Yeah. And so what you have is that noodle arm giving away one interception.
Now, I don't know if his throwing arm is his sex arm too, because I know that's getting a lot of work. So maybe he needs to dial back the escapades and dial up, downfield throws. I'm not his manager. I'm not somebody in Jimmy G's circle. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just a guy that watches a lot of football. Things across my mind. I got a question.
Got tons of questions, especially
I got
since
so many questions. Look, I'm from the. I got so many questions that I got questions. That's how serious these
questions,
inquiries have to be. I got
questions,
questions.
questions, and the old
Off camera, my sexy wife.
uh-huh,
Oh, man, we'll jump on that grenade at some point.
yeah,
But
and
anyway,
you got and
that
not only do you got that entire thing, but even then there's some times where it's not even going to be one Mississippi, two Mississippi, and instead it's just one Mississippi and Jimmy G going down.
okay. Question: were you excited whenever the announcement was made that we're acquiring Jimmy Garoppolo?
I was very meh about it.
I was pretty ticked about it too
I was,
because
I
this was
wasn't.
almost an offer, instead of being aggressive and going for birdie, or even, you know, getting a larger iron to chase eagle on a par five. We're just laying up. We're taking the 8 or 9 iron, and we're just going to lay up 150 yards short of the green so that we don't hit a hazard or we don't
Shank
go
it.
into the rough, we're just going to lay up. We're going to take the safe and easy pick. And here's what they rocked us all to sleep with. Well, he's familiar with the system. He hasn't been in that system in over 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All
We
right.
were all sold a bill of goods. And for those of us that knew, we knew that we were getting jobbed. Crazy.
All right, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to refresh the meeting room and we'll be right back in a couple minutes. So hang on, sit tight. We'll be right back, guys.
Roger that. All right.
All right, we're back, guys. Hey, where am I at? There I am.
You're in my living room, bro.
All right, guys. But let's move on to something a little positive, though. I mean, honestly, here we go with our defense.
Yeah.
2 turnovers, or should I say 3 turnovers total. You got a forced fumble recovery from Crosby, a forced fumble recovery by Spillane.
That's right.
And then you got the pick six by Peters. Sacks, you got 1 from Hobbs, but you do got 3 tackles for loss from Epps, Crosby, and Butler, giving it a total of 4. And again, if we go back to the stats, the team stats, again, the score should be a lot more than what it should be, or than what it was, I should say. So shout out to the defense for at least standing their ground, bending, not breaking. Especially a fantastic.
No, I just wanted you to stand over there. No, stop. Hey, I just wanted you to stand over there. My daughter got some issues. I'm trying to get her to model.
Ah.
And Ooh, my stereo. Attention span of the youth of America is quite troubling. Stunningly gorgeous, but right on.
Mm-hmm.
So you were making a bigger point. I'm sorry to interrupt.
All good. So honestly, that is the only thing, the good thing that is going on for the Raiders is that
Three takeaways.
the
Three.
defense has at least done their fair share to get the ball rolling.
Yeoman's work. When is the defense ever? Not even whenever we had Mack and Irvin did we have this kind of production and turnovers.
Nope. And
Oh man,
that is the thing that is just killing that. At least this is the one thing I can take away. That's like, okay, at least our defense is going good. I am less stressed out and less grumpy when I see that the defense is at least doing something and the offense is inept. If it was the offense is good but the defense is inept, then I'm just tearing my hair out.
you know PG, and I don't mean Paul Gunther, Raider Root, but Patrick Graham. You know, you heard a lot of negativity coming into the season, but if you harken back to the tail end of last season, even though he had inferior talent, he was scheming them into positions that were actually recognizable to the well trained eye. You fast forward to the first 3 games of this season, still a little shaky, kind of like a young colt trying to, get his legs under him. But after week 3, week 4 through now, with the exception of the Buffalo game, I just throw that one out. It's an outlier.
Yeah.
The defense actually has been serviceable. I mean, it really has. They've stepped up. They may not have been gangbusters. They may not be, pressuring to sacks, but at least they're not giving up the big play. And that's pretty much all you can ask in the modern era. Key offenses in front of you. Minimize, first downs. And, the phrase that you always hear, bend, don't break. Well, there's been less bend and a hell of a lot less break. And that's all we wanted. That's all Derek Carr asked for. Shame it arrived late, but sometimes delivery doesn't come on time. So you've got this 3-headed just enigma at quarterback. You got the young and the rest home. And they still can't put up points on the board for an offensive guru with guys that have been in his system. Think about that for a second. Hoyer and Garoppolo have been ingrained, have been reared, have been immersed in this Patriots offense that this cat wants to run, and they can't move the ball. They cannot move the ball. And the defense is holding their own, keeping them in games. We can't score 20, but the defense isn't giving up more than 24 in a contest. What's wrong with that? I need you to grump it up, man.
And
what's wrong with that?
this is what happens when
I feel
you
like Mike's. I need winners. I need guys that go out there and compete. I want champions. I can't win with these guys. The offense just absolutely stinks.
And which furthers the point of our next head coach needs to be our next coach needs to be a guy that manages the coordinators. We don't need a guru that is going to play head coach and a genius in whatever they're specialized in.
Yeah.
And the only thing I want them specialized in If they're going to specialize in anything, they better be specializing in freaking
Clock management.
clock management or special teams.
Yeah. But once again, we talk about leadership traits. You surround yourself with smart people, ideally, people smarter than oneself. And then you give them whatever it is that is your guidance, your objective, and then you turn them loose and give them measurable goals in order to mark their progress or lack thereof in your system, but bring everybody together and then we stay on top of what it is that we had set as directives for this team to attain. We want to hold teams under 21 points. We want to score at least 30 points a game. If we don't do that, let's circle around what happened. Let's tear it down. Let's do a little cost benefit analysis. Do a little root cause analysis too. What prevented us from scoring? Is it a position group? Is it a combination of players? Is it the plays that are called? Maybe it was situational in nature. We should call draws and screens as opposed to looking for the downfield connect because the pass rush overwhelmed the blocking. Okay, so let's slow down the rush by scheming up things that work against it. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I just watch a lot of football.
Yeah.
Why can't we get this shit straight? Whenever we draft, what are our organizational goals when it comes to drafting and acquiring talent? Sustainable talent that will actually keep me employed long term, as opposed to, some shiny object that we just got to get our hands on because he put up 28 bench presses during the combine. That ain't moving me, bro. Because he was able to, overpower left tackles in the Big 12, a passing conference. No, show me what he did against the run. Show me where he's bending. Is he twitchy? And what's wrong? What's the matter with that? Why is he limping? What's wrong with his foot? Let's talk about that. Not drag racing. Once again, we could have had Vita. We could have had. I'm thinking of the Alabama defensive tackle that's with the Jets. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. He was available whenever we had 3 first-round picks. We could have had that guy. He's a stalwart for the Jets as we speak. Oh, I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. But every time there's a middle linebacker, edge rusher, or defensive tackle, whether it be a 1 or 3 tech, do we keep on drafting fools? So in the last 5 drafts, we've taken 2 safeties in the first round, in addition to trading for a washed Reggie Nelson. We can't get the safety right. You can develop safety talent. My God, it's not like we didn't have one of the best to ever do it in Rod Woodson. Why don't we consult him? He knows what to look for. Intangibles, traits, things that would translate to backline defense. Quit drafting like, somebody gave you a betting form at the racetrack. That don't mean nothing. You got to get up, man. You got to watch them horses exercise. You got to pay attention to who the jockey is, what their winning percentage is, who's the trainer. We don't do any of our homework. I make a horse racing analysis because that's just how much work needs to go into it. Where's our scouting department? Who are these fools? And why are we them? I would love to be uh, I guess, a scout. Why not me? I've been crushing this shit for 15, 20 years now. I don't miss much. Call it whatever you want. I got a real talent for this shit. I break down the draft every year to anybody who wants to listen, and I'm not off by much.
That's why y'all should tune into Sin City 7 draft days.
Yeah. We're gonna do that, man.
We'll do it.
We need to do
We did. Well, we did that last time. Well, we need to make sure we buckle in for that kind of stuff.
that. There will be a two
Oh,
drink minimum.
we'll all need to. We'll have the floor will be yours. You can have a whiteboard if you need it. We'll all have our notepads.
As always, I appreciate the opportunity to a little rant and rave on your platform, but it's very gracious to you, man. You're all right.
Whoever wants to butter up the teacher can bring in some tequila and lime for for the professor.
I try.
Hmm.
Try.
Oh. Moving on to special teams, though. I mean,
Yeah.
this is how bad our offense is. They couldn't even get close enough for Daniel Carlson to make to even attempt a field goal. He's 0 for 0. He didn't even get a chance. The only thing he could do was do the extra points for the 2 touchdowns. So he was 2 and 2 for only 2 points. Punting, AJ Cole, 5 punts, 48.4 yard average. 2 of them were inside, his longest being 52. 5 punts. That's quite a lot. But then again, you also got to remember the one turnover as well as the other turnover on downs that we had. Kick returns. Carter had the one return for which he must have forgot his brain on the sideline because he decided to completely fumble and then not know what to do with the ball, only to put it right there down on the 2-yard line. In which, oh yeah, by the way, we got bailed out by roughing the passer penalty. We should have been.
Did you believe that we got a couple of calls last night?
Yeah.
They picked up a flag in the first quarter, which they never do for us. And then, like 4 or 5 possessions later, they did the same thing for equal time with Detroit. I was watching, and I don't know if you noticed because I just never asked you if you watch the amount of holds in the line play. We got held consistently throughout the game. We might have got just a couple of calls. It was ridiculous.
When I was young, I used to watch the quarterback and the wide receiver. I'd go back and forth between the quarterback and the wide receivers on defense. Now, as I'm older, I watch the line because the line is the best battle you're ever going to see in football between the defensive line and the offensive line. And especially since we have Crosby with us, my eye is always going to be on number 98, in which he gets held on a very consistent basis. So, yeah. Nothing much on special teams. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our least favorite portion of the show here. We got the turd sandwich versus the bacon praise burger. I think I know where I'm going, or I know where I'm going. Q Dog, are you gonna play devil's advocate today, or are you gonna?
Dealer's choice, man. So you let me know.
You just if you want to be positive, you can. If you want to be negative, go ahead, dude.
I'll be positive. I mean, let's go ahead and I'll do the positive burger.
All right. So let me go ahead and say this for those who don't know what a bacon praise burger or a turd sandwich is. So imagine, if you will, that you are either at home or maybe at work, and you see someone that's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or maybe they're just not doing something, but they're not doing it right. And instead of being like how it was in the old days, where you would just go and take them to a coliseum and throw them to lions, instead, maybe you should just go ahead and just give them a bacon praise burger sandwich. So a bacon praise burger, of course, is when you go and start off with positive affirmations. You give them positive praise, something that they're doing good. Then you follow it up with constructive criticism on what they can do better with that little action. Then you end it with a positive praise. Of course, it being bacon, that means you throw in an extra bit of goodness in there because after all, ladies and gentlemen, bacon loves you. Bacon wants to be a part of your day at every meal, as well as bacon just wants to see a smile on your face. So get some bacon
Yes.
today and fry it on that pan. You'll 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 thank us later. Bacon. But of course, the turd sandwich is exactly the opposite, which is constructive criticism, praise, constructive criticism. So, with me being the veteran in this and everything, being the host, I'll go ahead and start. That way, we can leave it on a little more positive note here. So, here we go again. Offensive line. Don't know what you guys are doing out there, but again, I'm gonna say this weeks on end. It's gonna be a broken record, but honestly, the final couple of plays that have happened in the fourth quarter was absolutely atrocious. With at one point it being 3 sacks in a row. The final play for the offense also being a sack. You guys have got to get with it. Otherwise, freaking leave the damn team because you guys are absolutely pathetic. Now, let's get some praise in there. Good job on the defense for keeping us in the game for as much as you guys have. I mean, if anyone deserves any kind of ice cream or cookies or hamburgers or whatever after the game in as a reward, you guys deserve it because you guys are the ones that came up with 3 turnovers, putting us in the plus for turnovers, as well as keeping us within the game, especially since, according to those stats, the Lions should have beaten us by more than 3 touchdowns. Now, Josh McDaniels, I already said this last week, Josh McDaniels, but I'm saying it again. I want off this ride. Stop the ride. I want to go home. I want to take my cotton candy. I want to go home. If you are going to stay for the rest of the season, Josh McDaniels, can you please get your head out of your butt? Get your head out of the clouds and onto the ground and call some decent plays. Look at the drive you had that for our final touchdown. You actually put forth somewhat of a decent drive. Somewhat. And look what happened. You scored a touchdown. And you incorporated the running game into it. Get your head out of your ass. And please, for the love of God, if you're going to get fired, you might as well go out with a bang. A positive bang. All better plays. With that, that is my turd sandwich. Go ahead, lay us on with the bacon praise burger, Aaron the Q Dog.
Well, let's go ahead and lay a foundation of praise. Again, like you had mentioned, the defense uh, made a solid effort. We got production from Tillery in the middle, and I thought that was good that he had showed up. Still waiting for Coons to contribute. However, we got some really good adjustments made by Patrick Graham because he had lined up Condor at right end, where he typically plays on the left end side, and was able to wreak a little havoc in the first half of the game. Kudos. Now, a little constructive criticism. Uh, we really weren't getting too much production from the offense, specifically from Mr. Garoppolo. And his stat line, though he was one completion over 500, quantitatively, he did not really get the ball downfield. We only got but a couple of first downs at his hand. Very confusing, and he needs to work on that. But he needs to work more closely with Josh McDaniel and whoever our fake ass offensive coordinator is in order to dial up more screens, maybe get some slants, because at least, and Devontae Adams is probably the best receiver in the league, if not 1A to Tyreek Hill when it comes to throwing the quick slant. So that might be room for improvement. Making those completions, you'll be able to push back those that crowd the box in order to let JJ eat a little more. So let's focus on that for the game to come. The Giants will give plenty of opportunities. So, once again, we're going to go ahead and put atop this burger the bacon and maybe some condiments and this bun to encapsulate, once again, positivity. All the players made it on the bus post game. No one had to be waited for, and they made it to the airport in a efficient manner and flew to the west side safely. So let's hear it for safe travels. That's all I have.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
was
see you
like,
got your son.
yes, I do. I
You
got
got
my
your
son.
too.
He decided to come on here because you heard me cracking up and everything. I'm thinking, man, it's
Oh,
like I'm thinking about stuff, man. Like, what else can positive on the field you can do anyway with that? Oh,
they got the, they got the hell out of Ford Field.
yeah.
There were no significant injuries. So that was the takeaway. There is your win, Raider Nation.
Mm-hmm.
No one was.
All right. Well, with that being said, next week we have the Giants,
Yes.
in which,
So we are third to the bottom in offense, and we welcome the worst offensive unit in the NFL.
mm-hmm. So
And in between us and them are the Jets.
so the question is now,
A whole lot of suck.
who can suck the most?
The suckathon shall commence.
Yes. So what are you saying, Q Dog? What do you got going? What are you predicting?
Oh man. I always love to say, the quote from Clubber Lang and Rocky through pain. That's what I predict. Pain.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, this might be a 9-6 game. It might be a 10-3 game. It might be a 10-7 game. I mean, it might be 15-2. Uh, Whatever it is, take the under, ladies and gentlemen. If you like to wager for entertainment purposes only, take the under on this game. It's going to be a tough watch. So you might want to pace yourself with the libations. You may fall asleep on this game. So hydrate up and put yourself on a pitch count with your favorite beverage. This is going to be a dental appointment. It's going to suck. You're going to hear a drill. You're going to feel some numbing with little spurts of pain that you don't know where the hell it came from and why are you sitting through it. And when it's all said and done, you can only hope to smile.
Yeah, and I am going to go with 18-17.
Uh-oh.
The Raiders winning,
Yeah.
in which I am going to be in a foul mood when we when we go on stream because of how the idiocy of the offense is.
Oh man.
I learned my lesson to not even think about the Raiders even getting more than 20 points.
Fantasy fans, I got Josh Jacobs dialing up his best offensive output of the season.
Hmm.
So he might hang 98 yards. I wish he would put up 98 points. 98 yards maybe or less, but take the over in that regard. He's going to get over 80 yards in this game, not quite 100. So I look for him to put up at least in well, not standard least, but PPR to put up probably about 13 points again
That's
because he put up 13 points this past week and the offense was garbage.
that's
So
that's
look
at
for that.
that's asking a lot from the O line.
True. But
uh,
again, if they listen to this broadcast, they'll throw more screens his way and more delayed draws, and I
mm-hmm,
think he'll do well. The main thing is don't go away from the run.
mm-hmm.
And please give the squeaky wheel some grease. Find some way to get the ball to Devontae Adams and let him know that everything doesn't have to be a 10-yard or greater route. Run shorter routes, run your slants, and get your yak. That's the best you can hope for
Mm-hmm.
because the offense has failed him.
All right. With that being said, everyone, it is time to go ahead and end this. So, Q Dog, last words. The floor is yours.
Yeah. So we've had three very winnable games that we were actually predicted to be the victors, yet we have not won a single one of those games. And we weren't favored to beat the Broncos. So we let the Steelers beat us. Um, we let the Bears beat us. And we cannot let the Giants beat us. On paper, somehow, some way, we're better than them. And, you know, let's just see what new and creative way that the brain trust can fall short of the finish line again. No matter what, win, lose, or tie, Raider till I die. And I will be there to watch whatever form of just shenanigans that we'll have to sit through. It's going to be a painful watch, but all right, Raider Nation, I'll be there. Hope you tune in as well.
Ugh. Well, as I said, it's going to be a 17 to 18 game. Raider Nation, just remember that we always got each other. Even if the Raiders suck, we always got each other. At least Raider Nation is undefeated.
Can I
Don't,
ask you a
don't,
question before you finish your monologue?
yeah.
You said that it was going to put up 17 and fall short by a point.
No,
I don't.
the Raiders are going to go 18.
Okay.
No.
Uh,
18.
I'm sorry.
18,
I
17
thought
Raiders.
the Raiders were going to put up the most ridiculous 17, like having 5 field goals and a safety, as opposed to, 2 touchdowns and a field goal.
Nope.
I just knew that, you just throw convention out the window with
No.
this out. I
Nope.
digress. Back to you.
I'm thinking, yeah. Oh, but no. So Raider Nation, just remember that we got each other, through this. So, well, let's be kind and cordial to each other, and whatnot. Be respectful, and like some other Raider fans that out there, especially those who are on the internet putting out stuff, just flipping other Raider fans off, going about saying F your thoughts and opinions and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
be respectful.
Shout out to City Jeff.
Like this is one, yeah, exactly. Let's just remember, guys, we are all one family. We're family here. Therefore, we're all brothers and sisters of the Silver and Black. Therefore, we need to treat each other with respect, even if we differ in opinions.
I know that's right.
So, without being said, everything, support each other. It's gonna be a long season. Will we turn things around? Probably not. So let's
No.
go ahead support each other on this. With that being said, guys, just remember, just because the Raiders are not going by the Raiders creed doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't be doing that either. We should all be living by the Raider creed, which is a commitment to excellence. So remember, guys, to commit to excellence in everything you do in life, whether that be your relationship with God, whether it be your relationship with family, friends, your work, whatever it is, make sure you put forth excellence in that. No half-assing anything. That being said, guys, Raider rule number 1, and that is do whatever you can to get the win. Whether you need to outwork someone, whether you need to put more output, whatever it needs to be, the end goal is to just win. Just win at life. Just keep upgrading your status. Keep upgrading yourself. And besides that, we want to thank you for watching this Sin City stream. Thank you, Aaron Q Dog, for coming on and talking with me so it wasn't a solo show. So,
Right on, brother.
From Aaron the Q Dog Raider, happy Halloween. From Aaron the Q Dog Raider, I'm KillJS97 and the rest of Sin 77. We shall catch y'all later. Bye.